Hello again, everyone. My name is James, and I'm so happy that you're here today. This is the latest episode of the Inside Music Podcast. Now, I wanted to come on here because if you're a fan of the show, you know that it's largely audio-based. And to be honest, this episode is no exception. You're just going to hear a conversation that I had with our special guest, who is Fearless Records recording artist American Teeth. But I wanted to come on for a couple of reasons. One, we're in the middle of this month-long push to create video content every single day. So every day this month, the Music Biz channel is getting a new video about what's happening in the industry, how you can succeed in it, interviews with talent, and more. If you haven't subscribed already, I really hope you will. But the second factor is because the day we recorded this podcast, and I mean literally as we were recording it, the world kind of fell apart. There was riots at the United States Capitol that were playing out on TV. Social media was flooded with updates. And we still chose to continue to have this conversation. It had been on the books for a while. It was the first interview either one of us was doing in the new year, and we went with it. But when you watch or listen to the show, you're going to probably hear a lot of talk about what was happening. You might hear us being a little bit distracted at times, but it's because literal history was unfolding as we were having this conversation. But I do think that we got a lot of great ground covered. American Teeth is an amazing musical act who is really at the forefront of what's working right now in the industry. His music is diverse and eclectic. He's willing to try anything. He mashes up pop and rock and punk and EDM and electronic and indie all into this beautiful mesh of sound and experience that I hope you all make time for. Now, we put out new episodes of the show on a regular basis. You can watch every single episode here on our channel, but we're also on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all the other podcast platforms. There's a link to subscribe below. I really hope that you'll check it out. But for now, just sit back, relax, or go about your life, whatever you're doing, and enjoy my conversation with the one and only American Teeth. How's your day going minus the whole world on fire aspect?
Honestly, it's going pretty good so far. This ended up being one of the busier days I've had in a while, because everything's been kind of shut down. But yeah, I've been busy since like 8 a.m. this morning, which is way earlier than I'm usually, getting started. So yeah,
That's
man,
great.
happens to be one of those days.
I think it's weird how the internet works these days. So I became aware of you and what you were doing music-wise, like maybe a week before the news about Fearless broke. And I remember texting some of my friends in music because I found you on TikTok, and we can get into that. But I remember
Sick.
texting one of your TikToks to somebody being like, who is this person? Like, where does this person come from? I haven't seen this before. It struck me by surprise. And literally a week later, I get this press release from my friend Amy, and I was just like, holy shit, it's that guy. Here he is. It's like the world was bringing you into my life, one piece of content at a time.
I love that. Just
And
hitting you from all different angles.
absolutely. Like, I had just been talking about you. Here's the signing news. I immediately reach out and I'm like, I want to have a conversation. I want to talk about like what's going on. And they're like you just said, they're like, well, we're all going on vacation. So how's January? And I was like, all right, I guess we'll wait a little bit. Has it been weird for you? Because on your end, for anyone that's listening and doesn't know like what's been going on in your world, they announced you're joining the Fearless family like the last week before the industry went on vacation. So like this was like the last press release Fearless blasted out into the world was we added American Teeth, and I'm sure that's very exciting, and then just kind of silence because of the vacation.
Yeah. To me, it's always weird that the industry just decides to fully shut down every year at that time. I mean, I guess it's good to take a holiday break, but I just live in this world where I feel like I'm consistently like creating or just like working on, building, like writing new songs and figuring out what the next thing is. And so like, when like an entire industry just kind of shuts down, it's like I'm still moving. I'm still like figuring out the next thing. So I don't know. I think like it was a nice way to kind of end that, end of the year that way, and then be like, knowing what I have up next, being like, okay, like it didn't really bother me that it just kind of shut down like that, because I know like what was coming. So I don't know.
Well,
It's weird.
how did you spend those last few weeks?
Yeah. So I was actually working with my main collaborator for American Teeth, the producer, Colin Britton. We were writing new stuff, which actually ended up being like, I think the stuff that's going to kind of lead off this next year at this point. So we kind of like took that opportunity, since um, things were kind of slowing down and our side stuff was slowing down, just to like reconvene and take another shot at kind of like, we like to work in kind of clusters, so we'll get together for like a week or two at a time. And so we were like, let's just jump in and just like see what we make in this little cluster. So it was kind of
Mhm.
nice, because everything, I guess, all the other stuff on the side was kind of like slowing down, so we were able to just kind of fully jump into American Teeth stuff again. And then I took a little bit of time, took like a week to just get off of social media for a second and like refresh and like reset, because I needed that. Like I was like going crazy, like just hyper speed, I felt like, with like creating content and stuff like that, and like really like getting into like TikTok, which I really fuck with TikTok now. But I kind of hit like this point where I was like, oh, I gotta like, I'm deleting the app for like at least 5 days. I ended up deleting it for a full week, and I was like, I think I even posted TikTok, and I was like, I quit TikTok, like I'm fucking done. And then, of course, I like, once I had my time away from everything, I was like, okay, I had all these ideas. I was like, I'm ready to get back into it. But I did give myself a little bit of a break, which was nice.
Dude, it's so addicting.
And it holds you in. It
Oh
holds
yeah.
you in. Like
Mhm.
it grabs you, and once you're in, you're in. Like it's really hard to break away from, which is, really
The
smart of
goal.
them to do that.
Yeah. But it's also like I find that it's almost like its own language. But my better half doesn't have TikTok, and sometimes I'll go to show her, my favorite TikToks of the day. I'll be like, look at this crazy things I saw today, and she doesn't get any of it because I'm like, there's so many layers to why something is funny or like why a song is trendy. And she's like, I don't. What is this? And I'm like, I don't know how to explain it to you. You either get it or you don't. I don't know.
You need the context, right, of the
Yeah.
community. There's like, if you don't have the context of like uh everything else that's going on in that app, then it can be very confusing and disoriented. I could imagine.
Yeah, absolutely. She only like there's a tortoise on there that she really loves. Tiptoe the tortoise. That's like the content for her. Everything else, it's way over her head, or she's like, I don't understand why you find this interesting. I'm like, it's okay, it's fine. It's not
Like a
for
pet
everyone.
tortoise,
Yeah,
or
it's like a
like a
pet
wild
tortoise.
tortoise.
There's this girl in LA who has a 150-pound tortoise, and she just posts videos that's like a day in the life of my tortoise Tiptoe, and it's just like, taking him on walks and playing with him and stuff. And she finds that adorable. She gets that. But anything else,
Right.
she's has no interest in.
It's just
Let me ask you this, man. So I want to know how this fearless thing happened. So when I became aware of you, like I said, you kind of came on my radar just before the news broke. But honestly, the song that pulled me into the world of American Teeth was this track "E-Girl," which you haven't really. I don't know. Like, is it official? I don't know if it's officially released or whatever. There's a video on YouTube. It's not on Spotify. I saw people on TikTok being like, "Put this song out there," and then I go to Spotify and I don't see the song. But then you signed to Fearless, and I'm like, okay, something's happening here. There's a lot of energy, there's a lot of motion, and you do a lot of different things sonically. So, tell me the journey of American Teeth in the industry.
last year around this time. Yeah, I guess around this time last year. Um, it might have even been, you know what? No, uh, August, September 2019. Um, I had been working on some new music with Colin Britton, the producer for American Teeth. Um, just if you, I'm going to start at the beginning. We started working just through a connection through my manager. um, ended up writing a song with Monkey from Korn, which was sick. That was our first time ever working together. Um, and it was just like this one little one-off thing. Colin had happened to be working with him, and they had me come in and do some like, you know, top line writing stuff with him, which was really sick. We wrote this like really like wild song. And anyways, realized that we worked well together. Just started kind of like messing around with music throughout that summer. Ended up kind of putting together a bunch of music. So fast forward to like August, Colin uh, was friends with Andy Sorreo, from who is now the president at Fearless. And we were in Culver City in LA. We were at a meeting at I can't remember the label that we were at, but we were in Culver City area, and Colin was like, "Hey, my friend Andy is over at Fearless. We should pop in while we're over here." So we went in and we played Andy a bunch of music, and he was the first person that we met with that was just like, "This is so sick! Like, you guys have a thing. I want to be a part of this." Just instantly, like one song into it, he was just hyped, and we met with a couple other labels. We met with Atlantic and some other labels too after that. Ended up not being the right fit, but like at the end of the day, I just really loved that experience meeting with Andy and everything. We talked to them. Then I went on tour with my friend's band, Dreamers, that fall. That went really well. That was like the first tour I went on as American Teeth. And then January, February, did a show in LA. And around that time, it was actually like the beginning of March, the pandemic hit. And then like a week later, I got a call from Fearless with an offer. And I was like, well, that was the one originally who like I felt like we vibed with the most. It was great. And we ended up actually kind of signing at the height of the intro of the pandemic. So the pandemic hit, we signed the record deal, and I signed a publishing deal with Universal at that same week. So that was kind of crazy. And then we got in and wrote a whole other batch of songs, and then started like really kind of moving forward with Fearless from there.
Wonderful, man. And for people that haven't heard American Teeth yet, you do a lot of different things, which is part of what I love about you. Is I feel like you are purposely hard to classify. But for the material
Mm.
that you put out to date, I feel like it's fairly focused. So when somebody asks you, what is American Teeth? How do you explain it? How do you tell somebody what it is you do?
The way I put it is it's alt pop that that always feels nostalgic. I want it to feel like I want you to feel the feeling of longing and nostalgia, but I want it to feel modern. I don't want it to feel like I want it to remind you of something that you long for always.
Mm.
So I think in all of my music, that is a feeling that you get when you listen to American Teeth. And I would classify it as alt pop. And the reason I classify it that way is because I feel like the word alternative allows for a lot of flexibility in sound. And I always want to have different dimensions to the sound, so that you're gonna know it's American Teeth every time, but I want to like continuously throw people off a little bit and be like, oh shit, like, you know, we've got E-Girl, which I do plan on putting out officially. It's just a matter of figuring out how and when we do that. But we are looking forward to doing a full length coming up this year. So I see it being on the full length for sure. It's just a matter of when. But we've got like, you know, I do my like screamy shit, and then I also have like a softer side and this thing that's a little more bubblegum in a way, or a little shinier, and then uh some raw stuff, and then I'm like incorporating some like hyper pop stuff into some of the shit that I'm doing right now. So it's like I always want to have this like really like multi-dimensional sound, but you're always going to know that it's American Teeth because it's going to feel like American Teeth.
I like that, man. And I'm happy to hear that that song is coming out because it is catchy. And I feel like, especially given some of the records and artists that have been taking up headlines so much the last few months in the way pop is integrating guitar music more. That song, as is proof by how the clips you've posted on like TikTok have performed, seems like a track where it's just gonna pop off once the world gets like an official access to that song. Because I see the video count going up, even though you don't really promote the video. It looks like you maybe shot it with like a friend, but it's a cool clip. I really love it. I
Yeah.
always I sent it to so many people. I was like, this is what some other artists think they're doing. Like
Yeah.
this is like
Yeah.
the real way to do this idea.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I love that song. That video is super fun to shoot. And yeah, I kind of like a lot of a lot of people are like, release the fucking song, bro, on TikTok. A lot of people are definitely, but I like that there is like this like there's this tension where people are like, please give it to us, because I think there's a sweet spot of when it should come out, and that's part of my conversation with the label and stuff of like, I don't want to wait too long, but I think that you know it's I want to create that sense of we need this, so that when it comes out, it's like, oh, like you get that kind of like, the hope is that then when it comes out, it like not only do you get the people who have been waiting for it, but then it's gonna, that momentum should build to new people finding it as well.
Well, the hardest thing in music promotion these days is just getting people to pay attention. And if you can get them to want to pay attention, that's even better. And I feel
Mhm.
like you just said, that's kind of what you're pulling off right now. Is there are people out there who are actually asking for music in a time when there's an unlimited amount of music out there, and they're like, no, I want this thing, and that's where
Yeah.
you want to be.
Yep. And I think it's
Well,
important to pay attention to that and eventually give people that. But yeah, but I also like think there is a bit of a strategy to like teasing it a little bit and kind of dragging it out a little bit.
mhm. Absolutely. Well, tell me, it's a hard to predict how the year is going to unfold, but think the gears are starting to turn. People are starting to like plan, the next 12 months of their life. So, what does the rest of 2021 look like for American Teeth League? How does the takeover happen?
This is how the takeover happens. We drip singles for a little while. This is my vision. I don't know what the labels think. This is my vision right now. We drip singles for a little while. We deliver this one single, push it to radio, and then drop a full length. End of
Mm,
summer, probably drop a full length. And then play Aftershock Festival in Sacramento in October, which I'm hyped. We're on the same day as My Chemical Romance, MGK. So that's going to be like that. I think it's a Saturday. I think is the day that I'm performing. It'll be the first festival that I've played too, which will be exciting. And then I'm hoping to wrap up the year with a tour, whether it's a European tour or a US tour. And the US tour is like a little bit of a long shot, but I think like
mm,
by fall, winter, I'm just very optimistic about this stuff, and that's how I survive. It's a
yeah.
coping mechanism. But yeah, that's kind of how I see it all playing out.
I mean, I'm with you. I'm a big believer that by the fall, we'll see some shows at scale happening again. I mean, I feel like that's the general consensus. At least that's what every one of us that actually works in music full time is, kind of like hedging our bets on. We're like, if we can get to like August, things will be cool, but we just got to like get to August.
Yeah. Yep. Hey,
And
and
until,
I
go ahead.
actually I watched your 2021 predictions video actually, which I enjoyed. And yeah, what do you think about the live stream stuff? You were saying that you were thinking live streaming will be going in tandem with the live shows moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, I feel that that's really happening. I know some venues that have like retrofitted their self to do live streams, and they've been benefiting, doing some like events for artists to raise money and stuff in the interim. So, like in my brain, it just makes sense, right? Because you can do a decent sized room already, play decent sized shows, but then you have this giant audience that's in countries that maybe you can't tour to yet. Why not do a live stream of the last date of the tour? And you can play to however many people buy tickets to that show, but then also compound that by X amount of fans that buy things online. You can sell tickets through all of your digital presence. So then you don't just have 500 people watching a show, you can have 5,000 people watching the show and buying merch online. And the cut that you could get from that would be so much bigger. And if you're an artist and a venue, well, it just seems like a mutually beneficial relationship, right? Even if the venue has to take their percentage because they're going to demand it, you would still come out way above what you would get any other night of the tour.
Yeah.
And all those
Capitalize on
fans
the
that are
moment.
like, why can't you come to the middle of nowhere,
It's
Oklahoma?
always
You're like,
Brazil, let's be
yeah, it's
honest.
Brazil. Yeah, like why can't you come to Brazil? You can be like, listen, you can be there. Multicam, HD, best seat in the house, basically, for a lot of these live streams, and watch the show for the same amount as the person that's coming in the door, or less, because they can't actually get there. And I've seen where like Garth Brooks as a stadium artist is like, we're going to do that at every show moving forward, because why wouldn't we? We already set up all the cameras, so why wouldn't we just stream it at the same time? That makes sense to me. But also, these small venues, they're going to want to use that technology as well. And maybe they will do it as a Twitch channel if they can get away with it. So why not turn it into a ticketed event and get your cut of that, because you're entitled to it.
Sure, sure.
And
Yeah, I think
thank
that's
you for watching that.
yeah, of course. Yeah, I wanted to check out a little bit before, and I like I said, I choose to be optimistic about the future, and so I was glad. I was happy that you took that angle as well, and
Yeah.
I think we need that at this point. Um,
Absolutely.
I also think with live streaming, at least for me, um, there'll be the stuff where it's an actual show, and then you do that.
Mhm.
But I'm really excited to do like a really hyper stylized live stream where it doesn't even necessarily look like a stage, and like but it's more like you bring people into this world. Like I would love to do a live stream, whether it's a real cave or not, or like a like a set or something, where you're like going through this like dark cave, and it like you're transported to some other world that does not seem like, so it's almost like you're being brought into a music video or into a movie or something like that while performing. Like that is my ultimate vision for like a live stream outside of the like, if it was already a show and you're on a stage, that's one thing. But what I want to do with live streaming, which I think some people might already be doing, but I haven't done yet, is like create like this kind of otherworldly experience with it.
Mm. No, I agree. I think that's part of the beautiful thing, because it's kind of like an emerging art form still. People are finding out more interesting ways to do it. And I like some of the more creative approaches, even if there are stages. Like Black Bear did a pretty cool live stream for all the technical difficulties that it had. There was like multiple
Mm,
stages, and there's kind of a progression to it that felt really cool. And like you could never do that
yeah.
live. You couldn't be like, now let's all go outside.
Right,
um,
right.
but
Yeah.
I like your idea, and I
Shoot
feel like,
fireworks off and stuff.
yeah, shoot fireworks off, take over a hotel pool.
Yeah.
um, but I like your idea. I feel like that, an audio visual experience is capable in a live stream element that maybe we just haven't gotten to yet because of we're still on lockdown. But now that this tech is
Sure.
out there and there are like a dozen competing live stream concert platforms, people are going to start investing in more weird ways to do it. And if you can do it cost effective, that'll be like the big ticket seller. Cause like that Dua Lipa live stream cost $1 million to put on, and it's like, you don't need to spend that money. Come on now. Like
No. I mean,
that's
if you got
absurd.
it, do some
Yeah.
crazy shit. That's amazing. But yeah.
Yeah. If you got the money and you want to fly, then by all means fly. But we don't
Yeah.
need that.
Right, right. Right.
No, absolutely, man. Well, let me ask you one more thing before I let you get out of here. I don't want to keep you too long. I know that you seem to be in the midst of a busy day, but
All
given
good, man.
all the stuff that's happened in the last year, like what do you think? What I love about what you're doing is because I feel like you're the perfect example of one of these new emerging talents where it's like you don't just do one thing, you have a hand in every aspect of your business. You think about the production side, you think about the branding and the image and the aesthetics. What's like the biggest lesson you learned in the last year that you think played a big role in like the success of American Teeth and getting that deal and getting just people to care about what you're doing? Like you said, creating the demand. Like what has been the big learning thing that you've taken away from this?
Not being afraid to fail, first of all, because
Mm-hmm.
I struggled with that for a while in past projects. Just trying a bunch of different shit and seeing what works. And then when it works, seeing how you can develop that. And then continue in parallel, trying new shit. Like always having this kind of side motor where you're trying new things and experimenting with things and seeing what people react to while you are doing your tried and true stuff. I think that, and being patient with it, especially with social media, it's easy to get wrapped up in, if everything doesn't react at each step of the way, getting bummed out, and learning to trust that if you just keep making more shit, things will react eventually. And that
Absolutely.
as a general kind of mantra, has helped me a lot over the last year, of just like trusting in the process, not getting so wrapped up in precious about everything that I stop having fun with it. Artistically, like having fun with the process is the whole point of being an artist and being a creator. And yeah, that's my main thing. And that even goes with like the coming up with with a strategy plan, with a strategy or a game plan. Just kind of having fun with it and trying to think creatively instead of being like, oh, if this doesn't work, like we're fucked. You know? Not putting so much weight on every step so that you can keep moving forward, and you have that momentum. Momentum to me is the most important part with it all.
Love it. That's a great answer, man. Well, I thank you for taking the time to talk to me on this wild day. I was looking forward to this, and I would love to do more together as the year gets on, because I feel like there's a lot of things people can learn from what you're doing, and I'm excited to see it all roll out there and probably end up using it in one of the videos on our channel, because I do things that are like what you can learn from this artist. So prepare to see yourself
Sick.
one day in the future. Um, that's especially when that
I'm
song
down.
gets out there, man. I almost texted my friends I've been to that Fearless office. It's beautiful. I almost texted
Mm.
my friends there over the holiday to be like, do you have an MP3 of that E-Girl song? Cause like video just doesn't sound the same when it bangs through this car stereo. So I'll be waiting
It's on SoundCloud.
Okay, there we go, everyone. SoundCloud. All right, that's fair enough. So check that out. But also, we should plug the new single "Barred Out." There's the acoustic version that came out. There's the studio version with Twin XL. A great example of your ability to kind of blur genres and ideas. And yeah, man, thank you for taking the time to talk to me today. Love the stuff. Can't wait to hear more. And I'll be bugging people to hear more as soon as I'm able.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Okay,
Good
have a
talk.
great day.
All right, man. Later.